I want to talk to you about how to address the package for quick and efficient delivery this year. Let's have a conversation about that, okay? So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. The thing is that addressing a package sounds like a very simple task. However, you'll be really surprised that it's not really that simple. Even the most minor mistake can actually lead to headaches down the road, especially for the postal staff. So, incorrectly addressing a package can cause delays because the shipping carrier will frequently return it to the sender, and that is you, okay? This is especially tough when you are shipping something that requires timely delivery. Let's say you want the item to be shipped 2 days from now or one day from now, and you have the wrong addressing. You do not want to have that, okay? So in today's conversation, I want to explain to you how to really address a shipment correctly, plus provide several address examples. So in the end, you'll have a clear idea how to really address everything properly. So how do you address a package? Let's talk about that. So there are a few essential elements to include: your recipient's full name, the delivery address, the city, the state, when shipping within the US, and also the zip code +4, okay? So from there, the formatting may actually change depending on your shipment's destination. So every country has its own configuration, if you will. So if you are sending a package to someone who doesn't usually live at that address, the configuration will be different as well. So you want to address it to the name of the business or a person who lives at the address. On the second line, you want to write CO care of or attention, followed by the recipient's name, then finish the rest of the address as usual. I'll go a little more granular, don't worry, okay? I'll detail things for you. Now, let me first talk about what is address format and why is it really important for shipping. Let's go back to that. Technically, it is a collection of information pointing towards a physical destination. So the geography plays an important role. So the information, the info is usually presented in a standard format, which can differ by country. So shipping staff are trained to read and understand shipping information. So if you are ever in doubt, you would do well to ask for their help. So information usually includes, I will put this on the screen. So you will have the recipient's name, a flat or house number, okay, a street name, the name of the city, an area or state, a postal code, and the name of the country. So when sending a package, its delivery depends solely on its shipping details. It's not hard to understand that if he has any mistakes, it might end up in the wrong hand, or even the wrong place, okay, or maybe return to you at your own expense. So let me give you a few useful tips when it comes to addressing a package, okay? So you want to use you want to always use uppercase letters. So I'm speaking about capital letters. That way things are pretty clear, okay? You want to write your address in English. Don't use more than 5 lines, maximum 5 lines. You want to write actually the complete return information, and don't write a phone number or fax number as a part of the delivery details. So when I say more than 5 lines, you have to really understand that the postal staff has to read what's actually on the package, or so you want to really reduce how many lines they have to read, okay? It's a lot of work. Let's talk about domestic house address. So if you want to address a package, let's first do domestic house address. So addressing actually a package to a house within the US is actually straightforward. Nothing really complicated here. Okay, so you want to always include a directional with a street address when applicable. So here I'm speaking about Mrs. Jane Doe, 2111. I'm showing this to you on the screen. 2119 South Jackson Street, Chicago, Illinois, 6069. Okay, pretty straightforward. Then what about business address? So when sending a package to someone at their place of business, you want to write the company's name on the first line, followed by the recipient's name on the second, okay? This is pretty structured also. And alongside your recipient's name, you want to add their department, if you know it, If you don't know the department, that's fine. But the adding an extra layer of detail is kind of cool to really help the postal service the postal service staff actually deliver your package pretty quickly. So I'm showing you on the screen here. Here's an example. So Creative Agency, New York. Attention, Mr. John James, 1261 6th Avenue, New York, New York 10020. If you are thinking about addressing a package internationally, let's talk about the international address format that you need to really follow. Now, one thing for sure, you have to really understand that even if you are sending to a country where the regular alphabet, the regular English alphabet, is not really used, you need to translate the address in English. Okay, so if you're sending let's say a package to Russia or to a country where you don't have the regular alphabet, you have to be really you have to translate. Okay, so international address formats vary from country to country. So you want to research online to determine the exact formatting for the country of your package's destination. So the geography will play an important role. The destination country will always be the last line on the address. And again, remember, maximum 5 lines. And you want to write the destination country in all capital letters and in English, okay? So, for instance, I'm showing you on the screen here. Here's an example for a UK address. So you have Mrs. Susan Holmes, 4 Princeton, Little Wingen, and you have the Surrey and United Kingdom. Okay, so you can see that you actually have 5 lines. And what about apartment address? An apartment address actually follows the standard US address format with the addition of a unit number. So you want to place the apartment number next to the street address. And if you are tight on space, you can also write writing the apartment number in a line below the street address and above the city. Okay, so that's really straightforward. And I'm showing you on the screen here an example. So you have Mrs. Kelly Gellar, 904 Bedford Street, apartment 24, New York, New York 10014. So that really gives you a lot more. It gives you more clarity, but also gives more clarity to the postal staff person to really know exactly where to really send your package. Let me give you some illustration here. So I want to share with you shipping address formats for international countries, so you have a better idea. I want to really go more granular because this is so important for many reasons. If you are shipping a package to the whole world, you got to really know exactly the formats. Okay, so I'll show you every country on the screen. So in general, addresses all contain the same information. Okay, basically, but they may be written differently for different countries. So when formatting for shipping internationally, let me give you a few tips for individual countries. So I'm showing you right now on the screen the format for the United States. You know this already, so I don't have to waste time on this. Okay, so John Doe apartment, the street, the city, state, zip, and the country. Okay, that's for the states. For Canada, I want you to look on the screen here for Canada. So if you're shipping to Canada, here is the format. I want you to really follow. Pretty simple also, okay? Nothing really complicated. They have a different zip code, if you will, okay? Postal code, if you want to call it that way. You also want to have Australia. So I want you to look right now on, you want to see the Australian format. Now, the Australian format, you will love it because it's pretty similar to the States. The only thing to the American one, the only thing is the zip code in Australia is four digits, not 5. Okay. Here is a format for China. So if you are sending a package to China, here is the kind of addressing format to really follow. And here is the format for the UK. So the UK, it's for addresses in the UK. You have to really always write the recipient's name in the first line. Then you have to talk about the flat number or the building. Then you write the street or road number and number. Okay, road name and number. Then you put the city or county name, followed by the postal code, and then you write the country. So pretty straightforward. So that's for residential addresses. Now I want to talk to you about PO box addresses. So how do you write a PO box address if you want to address a package? So the basic difference between addressing a package for PO boxes and normal ones is that after the recipient name, you have to write the PO box number instead of the recipient's street address. So that's really pretty sort of pretty straightforward on that end too. So after that, you can write the city, state, and zip postal code as you do in the normal shipping details. So let me show you the postal code, the PO box format for the US. So you just want to start with the name followed by the company name, if there is any, then write the unique PO box number, followed by the city, state, and country. Okay, so for the PO box, you don't need to have you don't need to put a zip code. The zip code is for residential areas. Now I'm showing you the UK. So here's a format for UK. So the name is actually followed by the company name and department. So, and you want to follow this this format. So for the UK, you can have more than 5 lines. That's not a problem. For PO boxes, okay. For Canada, here is the PO box formatting that you want to follow this year. So, so basically, the line where you have the PO box number and station information actually is usually the third one. Okay. So here is the thing for Canada. So Canada, unlike the US, has some kind of PO box or kind of zip code for PO boxes. Next, you have Australia. So for Australian PO boxes, you want to put the recipient on the first line, followed by the company name in the second line. So that's kind of cool. And you can see that the postcode is actually there for Australia. So that's something to really think about. Don't forget to have the city also before putting the country at the bottom. Let me give you a few extras here. If you're thinking about addressing a package this year, you need to understand that once you know how to format your address, you want to really print a shipping label when possible. And you also want to include a return address. You want to use correct placement. Write with a pen that will not smudge, okay, smudge, and keep handwriting. You want to keep your handwriting legible, and don't punctuate and double check before sending. Let me break it down for you. So when I say print a shipping label when possible, computers typically scan packages and analyze the address to determine where they have been sent. So, you know, especially nowadays with artificial intelligence, there's no manual intervention anymore. So PCs have an easier time with printed labels than handwritten ones, which could help speed up your delivery process. You can actually design and print your shipping labels with FedEx, with USPS, with UPS, or even with DHL. You always want to include a return address, so use your full name and one of the address formats laid out a little earlier. In case something goes wrong with the delivery, the shipping carrier should actually return it to you. You want to use correct placement, so you want to write the recipient's address prominently on the largest side, and be sure to include the return address in the upper left corner. So if you are using a shipping label, place it on the largest side. And you want to write with a pen that will not smudge. So a black Sharpie is an excellent option if you are writing directly on a package, but use a pen when filling out a label. Always avoid using a pencil because it can easily rub off or fade in transit. You also want to keep handwriting legible, so write your info as clearly as possible. It should be easily readable from an arm's length away. Do not punctuate. So punctuation can throw off the computers that scan packages, leave out periods, commas, and symbols. And double check before sending. So look everything over once more before you ship, just to make sure everything is correct, legible, and properly formatted. So let me give you a word of caution here. When you think about addressing, sorry about that. If you're thinking about addressing a package, okay, there are consequences if you address a package wrongly, okay? So something happens when a shipping address is formatted incorrectly. So if you ship a package with incorrect information, you may be able to fix it if you act quickly. So you want to contact the shipping carrier and ask about updating the address. So if the package is already in the delivery network, it may be actually too late. Okay, there's nothing you can do at that point. But if a package fails rather to be delivered, the shipping carrier should send it back to the return address or the shipper's address. If this happens, you want to rewrite the address, making sure every detail is correct, and try again. Okay, so that's important. Now, one thing you have to understand here is that it's actually best to use a sans serif font no larger than 8 points when creating an address for a shipping label. Okay, and so if you have any question, it's actually best to reach out to the carrier to see what options you might have. In general, though, it's actually best to stick with the standard and keep it simple from there. Okay, and now there are some questions that revolve around abbreviations. So there are some common abbreviations used when formatting an address for shipping. For example, locations are often abbreviated as avenue, boulevard, and street. The word apartment can be abbreviated as APT. State names have each abbreviations that you should look up before formatting your address, as this will need to actually be exact. Okay, so be very careful when it comes to those states abbreviations, especially if you are shipping something expensive or something time sensitive, in a time sensitive manner. So in conclusion to this conversation, I explained to you how to address the package. I'll give you the overview, the illustrations, the extras, the caution, and now the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.